Hello, my name is Fraser Simons. This is my channel, Springboard Thought. Today I'm doing a tag video, hopefully putting it out on Tag Tuesday if YouTube deigns to process my video in time. Sometimes it takes a week, sometimes it takes an hour. Who knows what's going on with it. This is the end of the year book tag, and I was tagged by Beating Around the Books. The original tag is Ariel Bissett. And if you haven't followed and checked out Beating Around the Books, I highly recommend you do so. She's very entertaining, knowledgeable, and her personality comes through quite a bit on her videos, which I like. And she talks about a lot of books that I haven't even heard of. The first question is, are there any books you started this year that you need to finish? Yes, kind of. I haven't started a book and then laid it aside or anything like that. But I have started a book that I have not finished yet last night, and I'll probably finish it today. There is no Antimemetics division. It's science fiction by an anonymous user, qntm. I think it originates from a Reddit site where a bunch of authors congregate and then help each other write stuff. I don't really know specifically. That's just sort of what I was told when I was recommended this book. This is a hard book to summarize, but essentially this has very large concepts that it executes in a similar way to Control, if you've played that game. An anti-meme is an idea with self-censoring properties, an idea which, by its intrinsic nature, discourages or prevents people from spreading it. Anti-memes are real. Think of any piece of information which you wouldn't share with anybody, like passwords, taboos, and dirty secrets, or any piece of information which would be difficult to share even if you tried. Complex equations, very boring passages of text, large blocks of random numbers, and dreams. But anomalous anti-memes are another matter entirely. How do you contain something you can't record or remember? How do you fight a war against an enemy with effortless, perfect camouflage when you can never even know that you're at war? Welcome to the Antimemetics division. No, this is not your first day. So there's a lot of sort of high operating concepts that I would say in this book, which initially seems like it would be inaccessible, but it's really not. It does a great job of sort of dumbing all of the high concept stuff down. It's more or less reads like an action movie or thriller. I'm quite enjoying it so far, but I would say that the ideas are a little bit incongruent with the execution craft-wise. I'm a little bit over halfway through, so I'm still sort of tap dancing, trying to figure out what this song is, essentially. The next question is, do you have an autumnal book to transition to at the end of the year? Which I looked it up, and I guess autumn is straight till December 31st. Not if you're in Canada, but I guess it lumps us all in with the hemisphere anyway. I mean, we've already had snowfall here, so I would say autumn is in its decline. But we'll see. I have literally autumn to consume. I haven't read any of these quartets yet, own them all. Was it a good idea or not? Who knows? But it was quite cheap, as you could see, only €1.99. So, if it sucks, I'll just give it to my mom. Who knows? Another autumnal sort of read that I want to get to is Minae Mizumura, a true novel, which looks very interesting, but I can't get to it until I read Wuthering Heights, I think. From what I understand of this novel, it is a retelling, kind of Wuthering Heights, but it is kind of like autofiction in that it is married to a sort of memoir self-insert from the author that somehow is inserted into all of the characters with Wuthering Heights or something like that. It was very confusing when it was told to me, and I don't really want to go into the blurb and know what is actually going on with it, because all I really want from a book is basically for it to pique my interest and then for me to consume it as it is on the page without any other expectations, hopefully. So it sounds really interesting, but I did ask the person who recommended it to me if I would benefit from reading Wuthering Heights first, and the answer was probably yes. So since it is Victober, maybe I'll get to that. I only have 10 days left in the month, but I consume books fairly quickly, so that may or may not be a problem. The next question is there a new release that I'm looking forward to? Yes, I am a hardcore nerd for the Expanse books, which is pretty weird because they kind of appear like commercial fiction at first glance, but I find them a lot more involved and very good at drawing psychological profiles for each of the individuals. People describe it as hard sci-fi. I don't think that's true. It does, whenever possible, try to include actual science for the things that are going on, but the central conceits of the actual story hinge on science fiction because there's drives in space that propel them so fast that they don't exist, right? So is that hard sci-fi? I don't think so. I think hard sci-fi means everything in the book needs to be at least possible, if not specifically proven already. We posit that it should be able to happen. We just can't prove it yet. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not going to die on the hill of defining what hard sci-fi is for genre theory, but anyway, I think the series is phenomenal. The last book that came out was my favorite in the series, so I'm wondering how the series is going to complete itself. And the last book after that is going to be a compilation of all the short stories. But guess what? I've read them already because I'm a huge nerd, so whatever. So the next question is, what is 3 books that you want to read before the end of the year? Being who I am, I selected many more than 3. And actually I ordered a whole bunch because I went through a bunch of Mark Nash's old videos and a whole bunch of other people, Sina's videos and Eric Carl Anderson and Bob. And so I have a whole bunch of stuff that I couldn't actually get here via the library or Amazon in some cases, and I had to order it from Book Depository. And those books will take a long time to get to Canada, so they can't be added to the pile, but they're, honorarily added already. These are the last few books that I have purchased, which means that I want to make a significant effort to get to and sort of validate or justify the purchases. I don't think the first one I have to explain. This I saw on Those Who Read It Must Converse, Borges, and it's Ficciones. I think that's how you'd pronounce it, but if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me. The next book I saw when watching Books with Bo, B-O-A. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't think I've ever heard them say what their channel name was, actually. But anyway, I heard them talk about 50 Sounds. It sounded really great. It's a sort of memoir novel of her experience in Japan, I believe. And she makes associations between specific sounds and then ties it to a story that happened to her actually in Japan, is how I understand it. And it sounds very fascinating. I hate that on the side there you can see some water got on it, so there's like a little tiny bit of water damage. That's pretty annoying. But this is a book from Eric Carl Anderson's channel that I saw, and I think everybody except me has read it. This is Sarah Winman's Tin Man. I don't think I have to go into that either. Seems like another one that everybody has read except for me. The next one is something that I want to make an effort for next month because it's nonfiction November, and this sort of qualifies. It is a book that I got from the Verso Book Club, so all I know about it is on the dust jacket. This is a book by Matthew Fuller and A.L. Wiseman. Investigative Aesthetics. Fuller and Wiseman drag investigation out of the philosophical closet and delink it from the heroic hyper-individualism of the humanist thinker. As well as blowing the dust off aesthetics, they show how dust itself has senses alongside our inbuilt capacity to sense, perceive, and decode information. Effective conceptual and relational competence work in a mediated continuum with technological apparatus and other non-human elements to turn a one-dimensional cognito into a multi-scale sensor of complex processes of becoming. essential reading for all critical investigators of contemporary culture, knowledge, and power. So that sounds fascinating. This next book that I want to read, I saw on Roz's channel and Mark Nash's channel. They expound the virtues of Clarice Lispector all of the time. I don't know if this is a good place to start. This is her short stories compiled into one version. Silly me though, when I bought it, I thought it was literally all of her stories, because it says the title is all of her stories. So I thought it was all of her novels and her short stories, and she just hadn't done that much work or something like that, right? So hopefully short stories is a good place to start, and if not, then we'll see what happens. But this seems like a good book where I could read like a few stories per day with some tea or something like that, and then eventually go through it. The next book is from Bob the Bookerer. You can tell because it's a Booker illicit book, although he does talk about a lot of other stuff, obviously. But this is An Island, Karen Jennings. And this sounded really fascinating. I had recently read The Invention of Moral and Piranesi, and I wanted to see how this was maybe in conversation with that in terms of isolationism and the actual handling of the island. Is it labyrinthian, whatever? This is another one where I did not read the blurb, and I only listened to a little bit of Bob's video because I didn't want to A, get spoiled, and B, know the central premise, and if there's whatever conceits there might be. I just wanted to slot it into my thinking with the other books that I mentioned. And then this last book I didn't get from any channel. It's just an NYRB book that I got for my birthday, and I've been pretty into noir tales of late, mostly Scandinavian noir, but I figured let's see what a classic can do. Hard Rain Falling, Don Carpenter. I've heard this is really great. Again, I didn't read the blurb, and I don't want to. I've just heard it's really great. I'm a very simple reader. All of these are subject to change because I'm a huge mood reader. I don't plan out things whatsoever. I just sort of pick up whatever it is that I feel like, but I'm very in tune with what I like and want at the time. So I have very few DNFs or negative reviews of and whatnot. I'm pretty good at picking up a book and being able to take it for what it is, and usually have at least a middling to great experience with it. And I rate books on an expectation scale, so 3 stars being good is meeting my expectations. So pretty much most things can at least meet that, and then if it's better, great. Is there a book that would shock and surprise me and might make it the favorite book that I've read of the year? Well, potentially. I have 3 Dreams in the Key of G by Mark Nash coming. The Lispector has potential to knock me off my socks, I think, because of the way that people speak about it. Borges, everybody seems to think that he's transformative, so that could definitely be a favorite. I ordered The Unfortunates after seeing Sina and Mark Nash expound the greatness of it, and I think that would be a strong contender as well because it seems really cool. I have House of Leaves coming because that finally went on sale. So there's a bunch of stuff. Who knows? I mean, I go through typically like 30 books a month, if that. But I mean, it really depends on December, how much I get done. So maybe I won't even get through all of these because I'll be going through audiobooks driving back and forth from my small town to my parents' house for Christmas holiday stuff, right? So who knows what the future will bring. And the last question is, have I started making reading plans for 2022 yet? I mean, I've got like 2 full shelves of TBR stuff, so I plan to read all of that stuff, and I have like 650 books in my Libby book wish list to get to as well. So yeah, my plan is to chip away. And then lastly, for tagging, I'd like to tag Sean the Book Maniac. I don't think he's done this yet. I searched his name in the tag, but who knows, it's unreliable search. So if you haven't done it yet, Sean, then feel free to, as well as Kier the Scrivener and Apocalypse Reading, and Draw Your Book as well. I'd like to tag, so there's a few of them. And that'll do it. So hopefully this video is not too long. If it is, thank you for sticking with me, and I will see you next video. Bye.